This is Buckeye legend Mike Tomczak, and you're listening to OVE Podcast. It's Ohio versus everyone. Subscribe, like, listen, and follow, and don't forget your comments. Here's the show, and remember to always wash your BALLS.
We will wash our balls. We appreciate you. Mike Tomczak, new open OVE podcast. We discussed it yesterday. We do want to go porn star for the close no matter what Sam says. The fans voted on it. Zach voted on it. Sam has been voted out. We will have the thing is the porn stars on Cameo are gross. Well, porn stars are gross anyway. But the porn stars on Cameo are disgusting. And I guess that's what we like it. We're kind of disgusting, right?
I think we're right on the line. We like to tiptoe across the line occasionally.
Yeah, we are the OVE podcast. I'm the Torg QFM 96. We need to figure out a way we can insert that in the time clock. I got to figure out technically how to do all this stuff. He's Sam Grooms. You can hear me mornings QFM 96 if you're hurt at work or in an accident. Let attorney Robert Schuerger go to war for you at warforyou.com. Remember, subscribe, like, follow, share the website, theovepodcast.com, where you can win good stuff. We'll let you know during this broadcast right now if you subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, you are in a drawing. We got a Buckeye mini helmet, 6 iconic Buckeye. Sign that helmet. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You are in the drawing from now until the spring game. Let them live. So let's go. Sam, are you ready for tonight? USA versus Russia.
Oh, bring it.
I'm not mistaken with the Russia.
By the way, you said Russia.
I know I did. And I did it on purpose because they are the communist enemy of this country. USA against, I should say, the new Russia. The artist formerly known as Canada. These evil socialists.
Doesn't this feel like a game the United States loses, though?
Yeah, it does. It does.
I mean, I feel like Canada gets their get back tonight.
Don't you think, though, Saturday night was a game that you thought U.S. loses on the road, fiery crowd, right? Canada with all that skill. I would say the same thing about Saturday. Like, oh, well, that's a game that United States is going to lose.
Well, I mean, the bookies thought otherwise. And last I saw, the United States was favored at one point, but now I believe it's -110, -110. It's kind of a pick 'em.
In my opinion, I think this is the biggest game in this country's history, in this century. I think this might be the biggest game in sports. Hit me in the comments. 1, who wins tonight, USA or Canada? If you say Canada, no, just know you're a communist. And then 2, and you hate America. And then 2, is this the biggest game in the last 20 years since 2000? And if it's not, tell me which one. Tell me in the comments. We don't have super chat. We'll throw you on. Be sure to put your name. What's a bigger game than tonight? USA against the socialist Canadian corruption of Pierre Trudeau, a.k.a. Fidel Castro's love child, a.k.a. human trash.
So Canada money line, Canada, U.S. are both -110. Puck line, U.S. -1.5. So I guess that would mean the U.S. is still favored.
You know, this got political, and I'm just half-ass joking here by calling them socialist, but they are socialist. But, you know, this did get political. But I think it's if you can't see the difference between a hockey team and a president trolling you, I don't like the 51st state stuff either. I think it's immature. I think it's stupid. I think it makes them look dumb. That being said, I don't hate America because of it. There are some people out there who hate us and go, well, I boo the anthem too. No, Canada shouldn't boo the anthem. Trump's not there. Trump's not playing. You're not booing Trump. You're booing Team USA.
Yeah, so show a little respect. I know Boston fan is going to boo.
They are.
Boo Canada. I know they're going to do it just because they're Bostonians, but have a little respect for the opposition's anthem, regardless if they're Jamaica, Canada, Iraq. It doesn't matter. Stand, be polite, but you know as well as I do, Boston fans are going to be booing it up.
No, absolutely not. And this got political. And let's be honest, Canada relies on us for a lot of stuff. They do, and we're their partner. And I don't think that's a problem. But if you do look at how they tariff us, look it up, Google's your friend, they jack up prices on stuff. So do I agree with how Trump has gone about this? Of course not. I think he's acted like a child. But in fairness, we are getting screwed. So what's wrong with saying, hey, pay your fair share, dude. Let's make a good deal. Now, I hate how he's gone about this, and he's made it political. But Bill Guerin the other day, the GM of the United States, Sam, that I kind of like that it's got political because now people are paying attention to it, and they invited Trump to the game. Now, he's not going to make the game, but I think because it got political, I think it got bigger in popularity.
Well, I mean, based upon the viewership numbers from Saturday alone, you had 4.4 million viewers in the United States that peaked at 5.2. And I thought I saved this stat, but I believe 5+ million in Canada were watching the game. So you had at one point well over 10 million people across America, North America at minimum, watching this game. So you want to talk about the NHL and its owners absolutely nailing something. They nailed this. They got rid of the all-star festivities, which may be good for a local market, but as far as an entertainment product for TV is awful because it's much like any other all-star game. It's not the actual sport with the exception of maybe baseball. But they absolutely nailed this. And you could have said maybe that Russia should have been involved if you truly wanted to get the best players in the world involved. But I think they absolutely nailed this. And I don't think they could have a better result than the primetime TV that they had Saturday night and United States and Canada playing tonight for all the marbles.
Well, the reason why they did it, and they had to do Finland, Sweden, because they hate each other. Mm-hmm. And right now, U.S.-Canada has a rivalry, right? I don't know who the Russian rivalry is right now. I don't think Ukraine has
the rest of the world.
Yeah, probably, right? But I think it kind of fits for the first time. And then maybe next time you do this, you do allow the Russians in and have them play. I think if you're being political and not allowing the Russians in because they're in war with Ukraine, I think that's the bad way to lash out on your players because they're not at war with Ukraine. So I think that's a bad message to send. Like, we're going to punish you and not have you in because you're at war with Ukraine. Well, their hockey federation isn't. Their players aren't. The majority of them live in the United States. They play for your league. I don't know the reason for having Russia out. The only thing I can think of is the Swedes and Finland hate each other. United States and Canada hate each other. So it's a nice little, hey, let's see what we got here with this 4-nation face-off before we make it a 6-nation face-off.
In 4 years, I want to say they're doing a World Cup of Hockey, which to me, I believe is 8 nations.
It is.
I would assume Czech Republic, Latvia, Russia, you're going to have those teams coming in. So I think they've absolutely nailed this. And I think hockey is in a good spot in where viewership of the NBA is down. In the United States, they're getting their money globally, primarily from China. But right now, you're starting to see some interest and some growth in the NHL product. I think what they are doing going forward is going to continue to grow the game. I think they're going to have, over a 4-year period, they're going to have an Olympics. They're going to have one of these world challenges and basically 2 all-star games. So,
but Sam, ditch that shit. Okay, so what it would be is next year's the Olympics, and 2027 would be an all-star game, and 2028 would be the World Championships, right?
Correct.
And then 2029 would be an all-star game. Never have an all-star game again. Go back to this 4-team face-off. Why would you lose momentum? You're the talk of the end because he's effing big Gary Bettman and he's stupid. That's why I'm answering my own question. But 2025, you got the 2026, the Olympics. Everybody's going to love it. 2027, you're going to, right? It's like the Bob Barker with the guy in Lederhosen, and he's climbing up the mountain, and then he drops. You're going to drop. You're going to lose all your momentum. And then you're going to bring
hill climber?
Yeah, the hill climb.
That's what it's called, right?
And then 2026, you're going to bring back the World Championship. Then we're going to go, oh, hooray. And then the next year, you're going to let it fall off the map. Don't let it fall off the map. But this guy is such a buffoon. Count Chocula. He is such a moron. Gary Bettman, this is your opportunity. Hockey has always been a regional sport. It's always been. It's never been a national sport. For the first time in your life as a commissioner, in our lives, hockey has become the national story in a good way. It's not Danny Heatley driving in a car and killing his buddy. It's not a strike or a lockout. It's hockey is in the news because of the game on the ice. So Gary Bettman, you can screw up and screw the momentum, or you could stop being, we care about our local, and start branding your sport on a national level because people are eating this shit up.
Well, wasn't there conversation, or at least some news maybe breaking, that Gary Bettman would be retiring in the very near future? I'm just
getting an appointment 2.0, aren't they? Like baseball always does.
God, I hope not. But he's terrible. He is part of the reason why the NHL has been set back and stunted, I guess, probably the growth and popularity. But maybe it's just the fact that I live in Columbus, Ohio, and we've now had the Blue Jackets here for 25, 24 years. And you're seeing not only I guess the fans around town getting more invested in that team, in the Blue Jackets. But what you're also seeing is the growth and development of the junior game. You're starting to see you're starting to see high schools winning state championships. You're starting to see more and more schools developing hockey programs. And you're starting to see the youth programs more and more. So I don't know that hockey, the sport, could be more popular than it is right now. And to your point, I think I completely agree. Bettman needs to get out of his own way and make sure that this continues. They can keep this fire lit, because it's going to do nothing but make your sport, make the NHL, make your league more and more popular.
Problem with the sport, though, is it's expensive.
Yes.
Ice is expensive unless you live in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Wisconsin, for some reason, doesn't develop hockey. Michigan, Massachusetts, those are the teams or the states that have the most hockey players from, because it's free ice. I grew up in South St. Paul, Minnesota, home of Phil Housley, Justin Falk, one of the fastest players in the league, and a couple other, and Alex Stalak. We're a shithole, poor city, and we have 4 guys who played in the NHL. 3 currently do right now for my crap hole city. You know why? Because I could walk out 2 blocks in any direction when I was a kid and get free ice. You can't do that in other cities. Matthew and Brady Tkachuk have a dad who's very rich and can pay for ice.
One of the things, though, I would say the Blue Jackets organization has done very well, though, is I want to say you have, if you pay $200 to play in this particular league, and it's geared around first, whether you're a 3-year-old or an 8-year-old, what they do is they go out and supply all of the gear, skates, sticks, pads, all of it, for a substantially lower price than would it be if you were to go out and source them yourselves. They're doing a good job at essentially subsidizing getting kids involved in this. And I think we can knock the Blue Jackets organization for an awful lot on the product, the consistent product, their desire to win. But they've done a phenomenal job at developing the local hockey scene for kids, high schoolers, and these types of programs. I myself have considered getting my son involved and seeing if he would want to do that. So he even asked me about going and ice skating over the weekend. So we'll see how that goes.
Let's start with some chat since we don't have super chat. 79 Steely Matt. I love Steely Dan, by the way, bro. Hey, cool channel. Love it. CW2 chimes in. Yes, love you, bro. Steely Matt again, U.S. hockey. I'm just trying to go through this. Gillen Tours. USA's going to win, and not our soon-to-be 51st state. And then here's Jordan, Team USA. There you go.
I know people want to knock Trump for a lot of stuff, but if you follow him for a long enough time, he's a bullshitter, and it's a negotiation tactic. I'm going to go out on
He's trolling on
a limb and say Trump doesn't really want to overtake Canada. He wants them to come to the table, and he wants to create it's a bargaining chip.
He's
right?
trolling them. Yeah, he's trolling them.
I mean, he's done it his entire career.
Kudos to Canada. Here's the thing. They're not kissing the ring. They have a little bit, but they're not really kissing the ring, and it's pissing them off. So he'll throw in jabs. And let's be honest, Canadians will tell you this. Trudeau's a douchebag. He's really ran that country into the ground.
Did you also notice, too, that the second that Trump won re-election, how some things in Canada started to change as far as how he governed? Getting troops to the border, I'm trying to think some of the other policy changes that he made, but he shifted because he understood daddy's back home and the relationship between our country and theirs is going to be drastically different than it was a few months ago. So, and I'm pretty sure it's forced him into retirement, and there's going to be a new prime minister of the great country of Canada here very soon.
There hasn't been a Canadian I haven't liked, honest to God. There's one I kind of don't care. Is like I'm on the fence about, but
think of all the guys.
I love Canadians.
Well, and then obviously in Minnesota, you probably saw a lot more. But think of all the one thing I give NHL players credit for, and obviously we've seen a lot of Canadians, and I can think of several on the current roster of the Blue Jackets. They're some of the nicest dudes, most down-to-earth dudes on the planet. And I'm saying that just as a human being, let alone the fact that they're a professional athlete.
Yeah, I like them more than some Americans, but I don't like them more than my country. We're coming back 60 seconds. Let's talk about the game tonight. USA, Canada. Let me hear your comments. Is this the biggest game, the biggest sporting event in your life? What's bigger? And I don't mean Buckeyes in a national championship. I'm talking about a national scale. Is there a Super Bowl that's bigger? Has there been a World Series that bigger? Is the Cubs and the Indians in the World Series, is that bigger than this? Is that on this? Is the World Cup? We've never gotten the World Cup. So no, there's nothing in the football world, right? Has there been a Super Bowl that's been bigger than this tonight? Now, granted, I'm not saying the ratings are going to be bigger because they're not going to be bigger. I'm just talking about a global sports landscape involving the United States. Give us your comments. Is this the biggest United States game in your lifetime? The biggest sporting event in your lifetime? Because I tell you what, Saturday was one of the funnest games in my lifetime. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the game. We're back in 60 seconds, OVE podcast.
We go to war for you. At Schuerger Trial Attorneys, we don't back down. Accident? Call us today at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com for a free consultation. Know your rights because results matter. That's 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com.
War for you, warforyou.com.
Denrob Management has over 40 years experience in all aspects of payroll, processing checks, tax filing, W-2 and 1099 preparation. First-time customers get 50% off their first 3 months processing fees. Give them a call now, 614-297-1158 or denrobmanagement.com. OVE podcast. I know a lot of you are going, wow, new channel. We switched. We're with the Menace family still, but we had to switch. We had to switch channels. Zach's got a Brown show going on. They're doing a baseball show soon. They got a lot of stuff. That's a college football channel. We're an Ohio sports, big sporting events channel. We do Ohio sports. We do Buckeyes. We do football. And we just needed our own channel. So we want you to subscribe. I know a lot of times people will see our podcast in the For You, recommended for you. Great. Love it. Please subscribe. Please hit like. See, this is how it works. If you hit like right now, that little thumbs up button, more people will find our product. That means I pay Sam more and Sam can do more days during the week.
I'm seeing 783 people in here watching this show right now, and I can only see 9 likes. I'm not going to do the math. That means there's 770 something of you guys that haven't gone and liked the show. Let's get that up, please.
I can tell you who too is. Well, no, that's 7. That's on all formats though, because last time I looked, we had like 400 on Twitter. So it's double. It's 2 formats.
637 on the channel right now on YouTube.
Is it? Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. I can tell you this though. People forget because my wife is never liked. I go on my wife's YouTube channel. It's got the show, and I go, "How can you not like the channel? How can you not like a show? You watch every day and you don't like the show." So if you're on, just hit the little thumb button, almost automatic. You know how like you take a pee in the morning? Automatic when you watch this, not the same thing.
It's working. We're up to 15. Let's go. Keep it going.
Hit the little thumb button because then more people find it, and then we become huge mega stars like the Kelsey brothers. But we're not douches. I don't think they're douches.
Not today.
I just think they're too much. I just think there's too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I'm trying to think who The Rock, for example. It's like, dude, I understand you're this mega star and you're in every damn movie that ever existed. Like, we need to pump the brakes. I'm done seeing The Rock for a little bit, right?
All right. But, though, let's be honest, on the scale of annoying, right, everywhere, it's Jelly Roll, Kelsey Brothers, Post Malone, then maybe The Rock.
Well, at least The Rock, he's playing a character versus the Kelsey Brothers. That's just who they are.
Jelly Roll's damn annoying, dude.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
No, because he cries. He cries everywhere. He'll go to Buckeye Donut and go, I've never seen a peanut butter donut before. I'm so blessed. It's just, I just think his shtick is annoying. That's all. It's just, I'm over it. Every time they hand him a damn mic, he's crying about something. Quit crying, dude.
Is Cale McCarr playing tonight for Canada? There's no news anywhere.
Yes, he is. He played the other night.
Okay.
The question is, who's playing for Team USA?
So obviously I know that Charlie McAvoy's been ruled out, and apparently whatever injury he had, he's been in a hospital ever since. So apparently it was pretty severe.
Is he officially ruled out?
Yeah, to the point where they're not sure if he's going to return to Boston this year.
Oh, really? Well, see, let's get into this game tonight, because I think that is a big difference between, by the way, Trump called Team USA. So just if you're curious, but here's what I think the difference in between. See, it says here he's still in the hospital with an infection, but his status is up for grabs.
So I understand I think he ran into a goalpost and it was like a shoulder, so like AC joint.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the injury was, I don't think his
right shoulder.
There you go. So that's the part I didn't know, because that kind of injury is not going to put you in a hospital bed for 3 or 4 days. So the infection is that's not good. So that's probably like MRSA or something like that, one of the big ones, which you never want to get.
But the thing is we have Norris. Isn't Fox a former Norris winner?
Yeah, out of New York.
Yeah, who would the guy come in? Who would be the person coming in?
Well, I thought they had Hughes coming in.
No, he doesn't. He can't.
But he's not, right. So I don't know. I can't remember who's filling in for Charlie McAvoy.
Is it the kid from Ottawa?
Give me a second. I'll see if I can find it.
But I was going to point out McAvoy is the difference between Canada and UNS. And what I mean is the United States players will lay it on the line to the point where if they're out for the year, they're out for the year, which I think is, if I'm an NHL team, I'd be really pissed off, right? But they don't care. Ask Matthew Tkachuk. If you win tonight and you get hurt and you're out for the year, is it worth it? To a man, the United States team will say yes. So McAvoy will, I guarantee you, he'll say it's worth it. These guys want it more. They absolutely do, guys. They want it more. And I'm not just saying that because I'm from the United States. I'm doing it because proof is in the pudding. Where if you go back to Saturday night's game, you go first goal, you gave Connor McDavid a lot of space and he tore you up, right? Then look what happened after that. There was no space for Connor McDavid. There was no space for McKinnon. There was no space for Sidney Crosby. Then they started to get a little cute, taking the puck on the side, on the half boards, looking for the one-timer. United States had their sticks on the ground, always interrupted that, and then moved forward. Canada was trying to be too pretty. The United States was laying the body on the line. The United States, during that game, did not care if they got hurt for the W. That is a huge difference in an international, I guess, exhibition, where I think the Canadian players, they're not going to there are going to be some big hits. Canada's not going to back down like they did Saturday night. They will definitely throw the body more. But when it comes to it, those Tkachuk boys, they'll go out the season if it means I got to take a puck to the face to save a goal. If I got to do something where I'm running into the boards to knock someone's ass, I will break ribs. I will break legs. I will break ankles, specifically their legs and ankles and ribs. But Team USA, the difference between these two teams, the talent, forwards, Canada. No doubt about it. Not even close, I don't think. But we can hang, but not even close. Defensemen, pretty close.
Well, so the thing about our defensemen versus theirs.
Goalie us and physical way us.
Well, and it's one of those things, like, obviously, both Tkachuk brothers were out or taken out, ended up sitting out in the Finland or the Sweden game, excuse me. So maybe injuries are playing a part of this. I completely agree, but I would say I like our defensemen for our game better because they are even with Zach Werenski, who's a pretty offensive minded defenseman. we are far more defense oriented than theirs are. Like a lot of their defensemen are playmakers. Drew Doughty, some of these guys that have been around the game a long time. Our physicality is why we were able to beat them, I think, in the first game on last Saturday. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see the United States try to do a lot of the same thing, take a lot of the ice away from the Canadians. And I'm curious, do you think we see the powder keg come out like we did last week where puck drops and we see some gloves on the ice? I mean, I think the United States are going to try to play a lot of the same style of game. It's going to be whether or not Canada bites. That's the question.
Yes, you're right. Is it takes two to tango in this, guys? So even if the United States drops their gloves, there's no guarantee that Canada will drop their gloves. You know what I mean? So last game, Hagel came out and said, well, I dropped gloves with Matthew Tkachuk because I did it for my country. And then he knocked Matthew Tkachuk and said, who the hell talks in a group chat? And then Matthew Tkachuk goes, you know what? All of us are in a group chat. That's how together we are. And I think Matthew Tkachuk's correct by making that statement. We are so tight as a team. We want it so bad. We are constantly texting each other when we're not around each other, keeping in contact, talking about the game. They are in text conversations 24, not they sleep, they eat, they shit. But what I mean is they are talking about the game and about Team Canada all the time. Hagel comes out and says, well, we're not in any talk chats whatsoever. So for you, it's all right. We're a more talented team. We're going to beat you. For the United States team, it's everything. This game is everything. If you don't, you're fooling yourself. This means everything to the team, and I think it means everything. If you're a hockey fan like me, tonight means everything. I will be devastated if Team USA loses this game. I will be maybe I cry. I don't know. But I hate.
Calm down, Jelly Roll.
I don't like. No, I'm in like waiting for the end to cry. I'm not crying. If I was Jelly Roll, I'd cry in the beginning. I don't like Canada right now. I like the people. I don't like them. I don't like them booing my anthem. I don't like that. I don't like us booing their anthem, but for right now, they're the enemy right now. And then tomorrow morning, we like them again. But they're our enemy right now.
So I know the Miracle on Ice 1980, that game is going to be the answer to the question you posed before we took the break. But I was not even born yet for another 4 years. So let's take that off the table. Is there a game that is comparable to tonight's matchup for this Four Nations tournament? Is there a game that you could think of? I could think of maybe one that shares this magnitude, and it was the 2010 Canada versus US. Is that the quarterfinal game, semifinal game, quarterfinal game, I believe, in the Olympics, where Sidney Crosby scores in overtime the golden goal to move them along? I don't know that I could think of a game that is as big as tonight's matchup, solely because men's soccer sucks. But you have nation versus nation. Pretty much like a Super Bowl matchup, you have team versus team. I can't think of something that the size of this magnitude, when you have the OGs on the block in Canada that created this game, up against it right now against the newcomers that they share a border with. I don't know that there's been a game like this of this magnitude with the bigger implications on the line than there is for tonight.
Yeah, because they've dominated us. That it's theirs. They've dominated us, and we've been their best. That's the truth. And it's been 9 years since we faced them, and a lot of these guys have waited 9 years. It's hard to say 1980 Lake Placid because I don't remember that. Right? So is 1980 Lake Placid bigger? Yes. Was it on tape delay? Yes. Remember that, right? But I was, if you're 60 years old, yeah. For you, Lake Placid was I think Lake Placid was the biggest international game in United States history, but I wasn't around. So for me, this is the biggest game until we beat them in the Olympics in a couple years. I think this is big for us tonight. It's bigger for us than it is for them. For them, it's just another game. They don't give a crap. For us, it means everything.
I completely agree. I just had that little voice in the back of my head right now saying we got them last Saturday. this is the game they're going to get us because this is the one that really matters.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot on the line, and you're right, Sam, about how they're going to play. Canada obviously knows, Sam, that United States is going to do very similar things, right? Even in the third period of that game, they were switching their lineups, trying to find a spark. They're not stupid. They are coached well. They will try to find a way to get through the tight checking, find space, do different things. I don't think Canada's dumb enough where they are going to go head-to-head and say, we can out-physical these guys, because that's not their game. Their game is out-skilling us, right? And there was a lot of times in that game, Sam, where they did have chances, and we just took the chances, the passing lanes away, right? So maybe Canada thinks, all right, USA's defense was really good. They blocked some passing lanes for us, but can they do it for 6 straight periods? Right? Can they stop when because we're maneuvering with the puck. We're better with the puck than they are. We're moving behind their goal. We're putting ourselves in position to score. But what we're not doing is we're not taking advantage of our scoring chances because U.S.'s defense has been so good. Now McAvoy is out, one of their better defensive players. Do we stay with that? Don't go into the physical game. Let's use our skill. They might, but early on, Sam, let's say it's through 2 periods and it's not working for them. They better have a backup plan where, all right, it's been 5 periods of this and it's not working. So what do we do? Right?
Well,
what if we're down 2-0?
We talked about this at the beginning of the tournament too. The weakness of Canada is their goaltending. And in tournaments like this, tournaments like the Stanley Cup, the mass majority of the time, the team that wins it is the team that's got the hottest goaltender. And Hellebuck's been playing very well. So as long as they can keep that up, I think they're going to, just scratch away. United States going to scratch away. Canada's going to score a tic-tac-toe goal, the Crosby to McDavid to McKinnon. Yeah. But the United States is going to score more goals, those rebound goals, those second, third opportunities. I called the shot the other night against
goals.
It wasn't the Canada game. It was the Finland game. You could just tell when the United States started getting the cycle going and we're starting to get rebounds, second, third, fourth shot opportunities. If the United States is able to do that, they're going to win the game. I guess the matchup that I really want to watch here, we talk about it in football all the time, is can the United States defense, can the United States unit do what they did to the top lines of Canada last Saturday night? If they're able to do that, I have confidence in the United States pulling this one away. In Boston at home, might be a couch or 2 on fire if the United States is able to pull this one off.
Probably not. Maybe in Detroit or maybe in Boston. By the way,
they're in Boston.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe in Boston they'll do it. By the way, Jacob Slavin, that's your MVP so far in this tournament. He won't get it. He won't get any recognition. Watch him play. He has been special during this tournament. He has been fantastic. Really good.
You know what's been fantastic? Zach Werenski.
Yeah, only got 10 minutes of ice time against Canada. They took away that ice time a little bit, but he's been good.
You mean against Sweden?
No, against Canada.
I thought he was on the ice a ton that game.
No, he was in the first period, and look at his ice time. I think it was 10 minutes. I think they pulled back on his ice time significantly, or maybe was that? Yeah. If you go back Saturday night and look at his ice time, I don't think he had a lot of ice time in that game. Yeah, I had 13 minutes.
Okay.
He was the lowest skating defenseman. But they were playing a different game. They weren't playing Zach Werenski's game. That's not now. If they're down 2-1, 2-0, you're going to see Zach Werenski play major minutes tonight. But I agree with it because of the way the game was playing, the way the defensive pairs were, and how good they were playing. They were just playing too good. Dude, how good is Brock Faber, and how good was that trade for the Wild a couple years ago, giving one of their stars for Faber and I believe a first-round pick. Brock Faber is one of the best young defense. We have a lot of young, good defense.
Well, tournaments like this I'm not really familiar with Brock Faber, but tournaments like this put the spotlights on players like that. So now I'm going to watch him when, the Blue Jackets play the Wild or when the Wild's on TV. I'll watch him more closely now because tournaments like this, if you could step up, it puts the spotlight on you and it highlights your game. So yeah, I mean, it's great for the exposure of the league, but also of some of these players that you normally wouldn't get to see in an event like this.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, who are you fighting with on the chat, by the way?
I'm not fighting with anybody.
Okay.
I just said I hate PK Subban.
Oh, you don't like him? Wasn't he banging the skater?
Probably.
Who's the gal? Who's the gal we're thinking? I'm thinking.
I thought he was with Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah, Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah. Also, he's an Eskimo brother with Tiger Woods.
Yeah, absolutely. Let him live.
Absolutely. Let her live.
When we come back, are the Buckeyes going to lose the 2026 top recruit? Breaking news next on the OVE podcast. Hey, it's Torg for Custom Air. You know, when it comes to my HVAC system, I don't trust just anyone. I trust Custom Air. These guys are fast, reliable, and they know their stuff. Fall's just around the corner, and now's the perfect time to make sure your HVAC equipment is running at its best. Don't wait until it's too late. Get ahead of the game. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my home, and neither should you. Visit them on the web at customairco.com and keep your home comfortable all season long. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air. Thinking of buying or selling a home? Give Lauren Torgerson a call with NextHome Experience. Lauren has been servicing the Columbus metropolitan area for 10 years. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, considering building, want to upsize or downsize, Lauren can help you with all your real estate needs. Get a free market analysis for your area and get started working on making tomorrow's dreams happen today. Call or text Lauren at 614-296-3952, 614-296-3952, or email at torgersonlauren@gmail.com. We are the OVE podcast, Ohio versus everyone. I'm the Torg, QFM 96. He's Sam Grooms. Buckeyes, Browns, Bengals, Blue Jackets just did a little USA-Canada hockey. Remember, like the show, subscribe, got a lot of giveaways. Chris Henry, the top recruit for 2026, announced he is taking visits. He's going to do visits. Now, he's committed to Ohio State, but he is going to Miami in May, USC in June, Oregon in mid-June, and then late June, Ohio State. And why wouldn't he? If there are reports that Oregon is paying $40 million for this year's team, and let's say Oregon doesn't win, how much money will they pay for Chris Henry to take him away from their rival in the Big Ten? Miami, the U, they've said they've been back for 1 million years. They have a lot of money to spend. They are going to spend the money. Chris Henry's not a traitor. If he goes to another school, he's smart because it's generational wealth now. Look at Bryce Underwood. Michigan is just, he wants to be a Michigan man. No, he doesn't. He wants to be the highest paid guy. He didn't want to be a Michigan man. He picked LSU. Then Michigan came and said, hey, here's $15 million and here's an SUV for your dad. And by the way, we're going to make like 10 of it up front. Here you go. He's not a Michigan man. He didn't want to go to Michigan. He wanted to get paid. And guess what? Chris Henry should do the same.
Chris Henry ain't going anywhere. Of the list that you just provided, those 4 visits, so 3 of them are not Ohio State. The only one that kind of maybe possibly scares me is Oregon. Like you said, deep pockets. They've been kind of picking our pocket as far as players and recruits over the last few years, but he ain't going anywhere. They more than I would say locked that down by keeping Brian Hartline in the program and elevating him to offensive coordinator at Ohio State. He is not going anywhere as long as Brian Hartline is still at Ohio State.
Well, I bet you LSU is probably saying the same thing about Bryce Underwood then, and then the price went up. That's what I mean is you do not know what's going to happen during the season, meaning if Oregon doesn't make the playoffs, you don't think Oregon's going to say to Chris Henry, unlimited funds, to say, hey, Chris Henry, here's $4 million a year. Like, what if they offer Chris Henry $12 million? Would you know, and I know he's got Pac-Man Jones as adopted father, so he's got money and he's not in need. But how could you blame the guy if he did? Because I would fully expect Oregon to do that. He's the top recruit in the country. Now, listen, it would be great if he stayed, and I'm not saying he's leaving. I'm just saying if Oregon, it doesn't pan out for them, they are going to, let's say Oregon says to Chris Henry when he's in town, follow me along, just a hypothetical. Hey, Chris, we really like you. We will give you $2 million a year if you come here. And Chris goes, well, I don't know. I really like Ohio State. It's not enough. I'm staying with the Buckeyes. Then they keep in contact with Chris. They get a little bit more desperate. Maybe they don't make the playoffs. Maybe they get eliminated from the playoffs, right? Then Oregon says, well, God, Ohio State's good again. We lost again. Hey, Chris, remember that $2 million a year? How about $4 million a year? I'm just saying it's hard to say without a doubt someone will leave when teams are paying the money they are paying.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that kind of locks me down on Chris Henry staying committed to Ohio State is the fact that he was highly sought after. You said it, #1 recruit, overall recruit, 2026 class, and he committed to Ohio State early. Rarely do you see a guy like that stay lock in that early and come off it late. So again, if this was an offensive lineman, if this was basically any other position than wide receiver, I might be a little nervous. But due to the fact that Ohio State is wide receiver he's going to get to play with Jeremiah Smith potentially for 1 year. Brian Hartline is further entrenched in the coaching staff at Ohio State. I just don't see it happening.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I in this day and age of lawlessness and no rules in college football and unlimited bank accounts, Oregon, Texas, and Miami are 3 teams that can outbid you. And Michigan. There are a few teams that can outbid you. Now, is he like I've talked to players who said, well, it doesn't matter what the money was. I was happy at all. You know, if Ohio State offered me something, I'd be happy to go there. Right? I think there's a lot of guys with character and say, you know what? I want to be a Buckeye. I'm making good money. I can stay here. I like it. Then there could be life-changing money where someone offers you $4 million a year. What are you going to do? No one's going to turn that down. And does Oregon and maybe Sam, since Ohio State's the last one, they up their offer to Chris Henry. And maybe they say, hey, we know you're getting a lot of pressure. Let's make it easy on you, Chris. Here's an extra $1 million to play for the Buckeye. And then Chris realizes, you know what? Maybe I'm not making as much money as Oregon, but these guys came back, offered me more money. They appreciate me. I'm staying at Ohio State.
No, I completely agree. And I remember seeing the story that he's talked about wanting to go to and be at Ohio State his entire life. So, again, I'm not as concerned about this, mainly because of the position that he plays and what Ohio State has been able to churn out with the coaching staff in the past. I understand maybe the trepidation. Again, of those 3 teams, Oregon is the one that concerns me the most. But he just seems like he's locked into Ohio State. He's, as a formality, he gets the visits. He's taking them. Might as well go see what kind of fun he could have in Eugene on a Saturday night. I don't know how much fun you're able to have. However, it just doesn't really concern me that much. I think he's locked in and he's coming here.
To me, if he was taking trips, why wouldn't he go to Miami when it's cold out? If it was
when is he going? May?
Yeah, I think it's more than that. I think he's looking at it as, hey, I really like Ohio State. But could there be a better spot for me? Could these places be better than me? I'm going to go and check them out to see. I really like Ohio State. I'm really committed to Ohio State. But could these other schools be a fit for me? I think if you're locked in, you don't visit anywhere. If that's the case, go to Hawaii. Anytime someone's visiting and gets their claws in you, it's trouble. From the standpoint of some people are better sellers than others. Not saying Ohio State's better than anyone else. Just saying Oregon has a lot of money. A lot of money. Don't underestimate greed. And I'm not saying he's greedy or not. I'm just saying in general, Oregon is throwing down the money, man.
Yeah, I understand your concern. I just think when you have a guy like this, you look at the types of players that Ohio State actively recruits. it strikes me as he seems to be the guy that when he says I'm coming here, he's going to honor his word. And again, maybe Oregon does back up the Brinks truck, but I think Ohio State has that capability just as much.
Yes, I just don't know if they can compete in Oregon. Tell us in the comments, are you worried at all about Chris Henry taking these visits to USC, Oregon, and Miami? Worried at all? Does it worry you? Let us know in the comments, like the show. Curious of what you think. Chris Henry, top recruit 2026. Does it worry you at all?
Are we going to do this OJ story? Because I do have a great answer, I think, for the poll question.
Yes, Jordan, you're right. His dad did play for the Bengals. Chris Henry, Ocho Cinco, Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Well, he knew Pac-Man from West Virginia, didn't he?
Who? Chris Henry? Yes, I believe they went to college.
I'm pretty sure they were at WVU at the same time.
Dude, it was tragic how his dad died.
Didn't he fall out of a truck?
Yeah, he's chasing his wife / girlfriend or whatever, and yeah.
We had, I can't remember if it was my sophomore year or my junior year. We had a kid coming in. He was a local kid down in Nashville. Recruit was coming to play, and that summer had a similar situation where he was in the back of a pickup truck, fell out while it was moving, busted his head and killed him. Pretty sad stuff. I remember his dad was at our fall ball and practice all that season. He was a good dude.
Troy V brings up a good point about playing his freshman year with JJ. And ultimately, right, if you look at the resume in the NFL of that position group, who are the first-round picks? We're going to get into Jeremiah Smith tomorrow because there's an interesting article about him and about him going pro early. About there's a writer that's floating stuff out there of, hey, JJ Smith should do a Maurice Claret and take this to court. I don't think he is. I don't think there's any chance he is, but I think you might see more young kids want to bolt to the NFL. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But what's wide receiver man? Who's going to get a first-round pick this year? Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin I know he wasn't a first-round pick, but he's tearing it up right now. Ohio State's wide receivers are kicking ass in the NFL. That's a huge advantage.
Let's think of the positions that Ohio State has had commitments leave. Cornerback comes to mind. Naeem Alford just went to Oregon. We've had some quarterbacks flip. I can't really off the top of my mind, if there was a wide receiver that we wanted that is committed to the Ohio State, I don't, off the top of my head, maybe the chat can help. I can't think of anyone that's flipped and gone somewhere else. So again, I just think Brian Hartline has such a control over that room, both in the players that are currently here and the guys that he has committed to the program. I just don't see it happening.
Hey, before we get to OJ, let's talk about Justin Tucker, because there's a lot of Browns fans and people playing the race card and saying that Justin Tucker is not going to get any punishment. Deshaun Watson got hammered, had to sit out a year and a half. Remember, 1 year was by his own doing in Texas. Texas told him the Houston Texans told him to go away. One was a legit suspension for like 10 games. The other was the Texans going, we don't want you around. So just remember that.
Yeah, but he was paid that year
to go away. Yes. I want to bring up one point, and you could take this to the bank. All right? Take this to the bank. Here is why Justin Tucker will not play this year. I think he's done. I think they're going to cut him. Is he a good kicker? Yes. He struggled this year. Yes. But remember this, he's a kicker. Deshaun Watson is the only reason why Deshaun Watson is even playing in the league is because he's an athletic quarterback who is last year threw 32 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions, and he was a top 5 quarterback statistically. That's why Deshaun Watson stayed in the league, because Deshaun Watson had, at the time, had ultra skill. Stop bringing the white-black thing in. Justin Tucker is going to get cut because he's a kicker. He will. He is not going to survive this. There are 8 more women who came out the other day. They are going to wait, and the Baltimore Ravens are going to cut him. I don't know if they can now, because the NFL is probably telling Baltimore to, okay, we're going to investigate this. Don't do anything, right? They're not going to do anything when they investigate this. But I guarantee you, Justin Tucker, when it's all said and done, it might not be next month. It could be in July. But Justin Tucker is not going to be on this team because he's a stupid kicker. Stupid kickers do not get second chances like Deshaun Watson. So I've seen Browns fans, Sam, complain online that, oh, what about Deshaun? Nothing's happened to Justin Tucker. Well, nothing happened to Deshaun for a year.
Just wait. Yeah,
just wait.
Yeah, don't interject race when there's no reason to interject race.
Well, everybody does.
I understand it. But, I mean, let's also think about this, too. And I think it's something that
Deshaun got a guaranteed contract.
I'm not trying to condone either player's actions. So let me first preface that. But I would also say today's environment is a little bit different than Deshaun Watson's from 5 years ago when we were societally going through the Me Too movement and, trust and believe all women. Like, I'm not saying that what either of these guys done are good, but I think society, we're in a little bit different time too. But what I will say is this, is the NFL has shown they will not tolerate this bullshit, regardless if you are Tom Brady or you are whatever that kicker's name from, was it Arizona, the Bills that they cut. Like,
the punter from the Bills, yeah.
There you go, the punter from the Bills. If you have this much smoke, there's probably going to be some fire. And regardless of your position or the amount of melanin in your skin, you're going to get ostracized from the NFL. So the reason why Justin Tucker was so good was because he had ice in his veins. He didn't miss kicks. He was pretty dependable when the Ravens needed him.
And he didn't when he needed it.
Last year, not as good. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say they were probably being squeezed a little bit with some of these allegations before they were made public. So I think he is cooked, both from the talent or his ability on the field, but I also think he's cooked because the NFL ain't going to tolerate this shit.
Yeah, and he's a kicker. And a lot of people are saying it's unfair what's going on. Well, the NFL, they did it to the punter, like cut him right away, which is bullshit. I think he's kicking in the league, isn't he?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
I remember his last name is like a Reza or something like that. But yeah, the accusations against him were not true.
100% false.
So yeah, that's maybe the NFL screwed that one up.
Oh, big time. But he's back, and it was the Bills. It was more the Bills, right? Bills wanted to get rid of him right away. By the way,
it's such a weird spot to be in, because I think we've seen historically some of these allegations have proven to be lies. Let's just call it what it is. But then you're also an organization in which you don't want to take that kind of PR. So you're going to do, especially if you're a punter, they're not going to want that smoke coming from the punter on the roster. So they're going to cut him immediately, and that's what they did.
Agree. They absolutely will cut him as soon as they get an opportunity, Sam.
And that's what I don't necessarily want to go into this topic, but it's what I think people neglect to acknowledge when it comes to, excuse me, San Francisco quarterback, lefty, in and out of the league, taking a knee for the national anthem. I'm having a brain fart.
Oh,
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick.
The issue with him is, and part of the reason why the NFL franchises haven't signed him is because they don't want that kind of distraction coming from maybe your second string quarterback. Like if he wasn't going to bring the media circus along with him and he still had a little bit of ability, he would be signed. But these organizations, these businesses don't want that media smoke coming from somebody that's not going to produce like a top 5 quarterback in the league. If he's just a backup, they don't want the smoke. And they're not, to me, I think it's a sound business decision.
I talked to Tim Tebow, interviewed him once, right? And when he was with the Patriots, the night before he was cut, he was having dinner at Robert Kraft's house. Said, I 100% got cut because I was a third string quarterback and they had to move me out of the locker room because there were 300 reporters talking to me. No one wants the sideshow. No one wants the sideshow. Ask the Browns. They don't want the sideshow. They don't want Deshaun Watson on. You've had Myles Garrett, the defensive player of the year, say we need a quarterback. You've had Denzel Ward tell TMZ we need a quarterback, man. These guys do not want Deshaun Watson there. And I don't think it's because of the tuggy-tuggy. I just think they think he's a douchebag who can't play.
Bad teammate.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want those. Just when you have the ultimate team game in the NFL and football, you want to increase the likelihood of you succeeding and winning by minimizing and controlling as much of the outside energy, the outside distractions as you can. That's why Tim Tebow got cut. That's why Colin Kaepernick never got another job. That's why Justin Tucker's going to be cut. It's because you don't want the distraction. That's something you can control.
By the way, Nick D asked us, got a hockey question. Is offsides called when the player enters the zone before the puck? No, because they get a chance to get outside of the blue line before they call it. Meaning if Sam has the puck and I am ahead of him and I cross the blue line, I have to leave the blue line.
It's not offside until the puck is touched by the person that is offside or your teammate while being in the zone early.
Yes.
That's called a delayed offside. So if the defense is controlling the puck, it's not offside technically until the offensive player touches it.
Yeah, it's a new rule in the past, 5-6 years?
I thought delayed has been a
no, but I can get back out, jump back out of the blue line, and then come back in. What is that, 5 years?
I thought that's been a rule for a long time. As long as I can remember, I know several years ago, 10 years ago, they made some changes to the goal. They got rid of the two-line pass rule, which has really offensively opened up the game. They have created some uniformity on the size of goalies' pads and safety gear, stuff like that. So
we got breaking news. We need a breaking news sounder. Guess who signed a 1-year extension? I don't think he's earned it, but Buckeye fans are going to tell me to go to hell. Luke Fickell. Fickell.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wisconsin. If it's me, I look at and granted, he's running an offense that doesn't fit Wisconsin. And getting rid of Phil Longo was probably the best move. And I was shocked at the time they hired Phil Longo. I don't think Phil Longo is a horrible offensive coordinator. I think he's a horrible offensive coordinator at Wisconsin. But I don't know, Sam. I think if you want to be honest about Luke Fickell's time in Wisconsin, I think he's underachieved.
I want to say last year was the first time Wisconsin football had a losing season since 2001. I don't know that warrants an extension.
Maybe they're worried he's going to go somewhere else. I don't know. I agree.
Well, if he keeps putting up losing seasons, he probably shouldn't he?
Wisconsin, by the way, 3-6 in the conference, 5-7 overall. That is bad, my friend. They have Alabama on the road this year, Michigan on the road, Oregon on the road, Ohio State at home. They're going to lose 5-6 games.
Had to get rid of a bot. Sorry for that.
Oh, the watch TV.
Yeah. You want to do this OJ story? Close out with that because I think it leads to the a great poll question that I've got I think the best answer to.
Yeah, go for it.
So, OJ Simpson's estate is auctioning off his personal items. Obviously, OJ very much dead, had a lot of stuff. The estate is going to auction some of that off to raise some money for the estate. The poll question coming from that is OJ's estate is selling his items. Which pro athlete's items would you actually want?
One, if I'm going to buy something from OJ, it's going to be his knife collection.
Isotoners?
Yeah. It's tough because I think you got to look at it as the history of the game. Like who has the best history of the game? In what sport? Is it Wayne Gretzky? I don't know. Tom Brady, a lot of trophies, right? To me, it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady or Michael Jordan has the best stuff.
The answer you said the correct answer, and I'm going to tell you why. In 2023, Michael Jordan made an estimated $330 million out of his relationship with Nike. Guess what happens to that money when he's no longer gone? If I'm getting his estate, I'm getting that revenue stream. So you can keep all the items. Give me the income from Nike alone, and I'll just piss off.
Yeah, not bad, huh?
Not to mention like the properties and the golf courses and I'm going to go out on a limb and the cigar collection. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that man's got some memorabilia too.
Oh, I tell you what, non-sports cigar collection, Bill Clinton.
This one smells kind of funny though.
Yes. We are going to like a cigar place Saturday night, and they have like vanilla cigars, tasting cigars. Bill
in town here?
Yeah, I don't know where it's at. Someone's telling me. I'm going.
Text it to me.
Okay, we're going Saturday night to see this band play.
Okay.
And it's like a cigar place, cigar bar. I'm going with BJ and his wife. Bring your wife. WarForYou.com. My guy. Your wife want to come out?
Saturday I know she's going to Vegas. She's going to Vegas Monday, so getting her out of the house. Maybe. I don't know. I know the Blue Jackets are at home on Saturday, so I may try to go to that.
There you go. Let them live. All right, we done for today. Back tomorrow?
Sure.
We're back tomorrow at 3. Thanks. Remember, quickly, like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. Appreciate you. You're back tomorrow on the OVE podcast.
Well, of course. I mean, there's nothing better than being American. So, I mean, this is the greatest feeling. If you don't love it, leave it. USA, #1.